Welcome, you're to Dreadful Screams. Turn off your lights, put your phone down for a while, and imagine this. You're alone in a department store long after closing time. Fluorescent lights hum above your head, empty aisles stretch in every direction, and every sound echoes just a little too long. That's where tonight's story begins. A first-night security shift. That turned into something the guard will never forget. It was just after midnight when Aaron clocked in for his very first overnight shift at the Wellington Mall department store. The kind of store that sold everything. Clothes, furniture, cosmetics, electronics. And the kind of place that felt different when empty. He was filling in for another guard who'd called in sick. The night supervisor handed him a clipboard, a flashlight, and a set of jangling keys. Just make your rounds every hour. Cameras are mostly functional, the man said with a laugh. If anything moves, it's probably a mannequin. Aaron forced a smile. He'd done overnight shifts before, but never alone in a place this big. The store lights dimmed to half brightness, leaving only the dull fluorescent hum. As the supervisor left, Aaron's radio crackled with static, then silence. He was alone. The first hour was uneventful. He walked past women's fashion, rows of motionless mannequins dressed in bright spring colors. Their glassy eyes reflected his flashlight beam. The PA system clicked once. "Customer service, please report to register 4. The voice was distant, broken, like a recording caught in a loop. Aaron froze. The store had been closed for hours. He checked his watch. 1:04 a.m., he took out his radio. "Control, this is Aaron. Anyone testing the PA?" No response. As he walked toward the registers, he noticed something odd. A faint, fresh scent of perfume, like someone had just sprayed it nearby. There, on the polished floor, were a few wet footprints, bare, faint, and leading deeper into the store. His heart began to pound. He followed them toward the cosmetics section, where mirrors caught the dim light. Then, the escalator groaned to life behind him. Its metal steps clattered and squeaked like someone was riding it. Aaron spun around, but there was no one. The escalator was moving on its own, rising into the empty second floor. Trying to keep calm, Aaron returned to the security office to check the camera feeds. The monitors flickered, old analog feeds showing every aisle in grainy black and white. In camera 7, the women's section, something shifted. Just a flicker at first. Then, unmistakably, a figure crossing between aisles. Aaron leaned closer. The person moved with slow, deliberate steps, like browsing. They stopped near the shoe section and vanished behind a display. He froze the frame. No face, no clear outline, just a shape, too solid to be a shadow. He radioed again. "Control? Anyone on site? Anyone else inside the building?" Silence, just a faint hiss of static. Then something behind him clicked. The door to the security room had gently swung shut. He left the monitors and followed the path from the footage. Aisle 14, shoes and handbags. Every step echoed sharply on the tile. He turned the corner and saw a shopping cart halfway down the aisle. Inside it were random items, a pair of heels, a men's jacket, a children's toy, all from different departments. Aaron whispered to himself, "Who the hell put this here?" He pushed the cart aside, and the sound it made was deafening. The wheels squeaked, echoing off the walls. Then, a sound above him, like soft footsteps on the second floor. He climbed the escalator, slowly. The lights flickered as he reached the top. The home section stretched before him. Mirrors, glass tables, lamps. And in the far corner, a figure. It was standing perfectly still. He raised his flashlight and realized it was a mannequin. But something about it was wrong. Its head was turned, facing him, and when he stepped closer, he noticed dust had been wiped clean around its feet, like it had been moved recently. By 3:20 a.m., the store was utterly silent again. Aaron sat in the break area, trying to shake off the unease. He told himself it was just nerves, that everything had a logical explanation. Then his radio whispered, not static this time, but a faint female voice. Price check on aisle 7. He froze. That was the exact line used in their daytime announcements. But this voice sounded distant, hollow, like it came from another floor. He stood up, radio in hand, and started walking. As he reached aisle 7 in the perfume counter, he noticed one bottle uncapped, and beside it, a small receipt, freshly printed. It read, "Thank you for shopping with us. Time, 3:21 a.m. He looked up, breath trembling, and in the mirror behind the counter for just a second, and he saw a woman. Her reflection moved, even though no one stood there. Aaron backed away, heart pounding. He radioed again, shouting for help, but all he heard was distant, overlapping whispers. Dozens of them. He ran toward the exit, but the glass doors wouldn't budge. They were sealed, like they were never meant to open from the inside. Lights overhead flickered violently. The mannequins, all of them, seemed to have shifted, their heads turned slightly in new directions. The faint scent of perfume returned, stronger this time. And somewhere, far down the escalator, he heard the sound of shopping bags rustling and faint heels clicking against tile. He turned his flashlight toward the noise, but the beam flickered and died. Then, silence. The last thing he remembered was the hum of the escalator starting again. Ascending. When the morning shift arrived, they found Aaron sitting in the break area, pale and trembling. His flashlight lay beside him. The cameras showed only static between 3:00 and 4:00 a.m., but the receipt he'd found, time-stamped 3:21 a.m., was real. And when the manager checked the store's digital records later that day, there was an unlogged sale, a single bottle of perfume. No customer name, no transaction ID. Just the note. Purchase completed in person. Ending. Voice fades. Some employees say that when the lights dim at closing, you can still smell perfume on aisle 7. Others swear they hear faint footsteps on the escalator after midnight. If you ever find yourself working a first shift in an empty department store, and the PA calls for a price check on aisle 7, you should probably ignore it, because some shoppers never really leave. This was the phantom shopper from the first shift echoes in the aisles. You've been listening to Dreadful Screams. Working the night shift changes you. You start to notice things. Sounds. Shadows. The way silence feels heavier after midnight. This is the story of Derek Harris, a man who took a simple night guard job and discovered a secret that was supposed to stay sealed forever. Derek Harris wasn't new to security work. He'd done hospitals, offices, even an old power plant. But Silvercrest Department Store was different. The building had recently reopened after being closed for nearly a decade. It was massive, 3 floors, long empty aisles, and the kind of echo that makes every sound feel like someone's following you. His supervisor, Mason, handed him a keyring and a radio. Just patrol the floors every hour, check the cameras, and don't bother with Security Room B, Mason said flatly. When Derek asked why, the man just shrugged. It's been sealed since the last guy quit. That's all you need to know. At the time, Derek didn't care. He just wanted the paycheck. But that changed after his first midnight patrol. Around 1:30 a.m., Derek sat in the main control room, a dim office filled with flickering monitors. Most cameras showed empty aisles, but his radio began to hiss softly. Shh. He adjusted the volume, thinking it was interference. Then a faint voice broke through the static. Unit 2, Camera 14, movement detected in Security Room B. Derek froze. He was Unit 2 and there was no Camera 14. He flipped through the channels, but the message repeated again. Same flat tone, same words. He leaned closer to the monitors, eyes narrowing. For a split second, one screen glitched, and he saw a live feed labeled Camera 14. The picture was snowy, but he could make out a small office, a chair, a desk, and someone sitting inside. Then, static. The feed vanished. The next day, Derek asked Mason about it. Hey, who used to work here in that locked security room? Mason didn't even look up. No one. Not anymore. Room's been shut since 2016. Don't go near it. That was all he said. But Derek couldn't stop thinking about that brief image, the silhouette in the chair. He began searching the old guard logbook. Buried near the back, he found an entry dated October 17, 2016. Strange noises from room B, camera feed flickering. Will check manually. Officer Lane. There were no entries after that one. No. Shift complete. No follow-up, just an empty line. The next night, Derek came in early. He wanted to test something. He switched his radio to Channel 9, the one where he'd heard the voice. Static at first. Then silence. He waited. And at exactly 1:31 a.m., it came again. Unit 2. Camera 14. Movement detected. His stomach dropped. It wasn't a recording. It was live. He turned toward the hallway and noticed something new. The red, sealed tape across the door of security room B had been peeled away, and there was a faint light flickering underneath. Derek hesitated. He thought about calling Mason, but the radio was nothing but white noise now. He took a deep breath, unhooked his flashlight, and approached the door. The metal handle was freezing cold. He pushed it open. Inside, dust coated everything. A desk, a half-broken chair, walls lined with old monitors. Most were shattered, but one still glowed faintly. Its timestamp read 10/17/2016, 2:12 a.m. He stared at the flickering screen. The camera feed showed the same office, went only cleaner, brighter. A man was sitting in the chair. Officer Lane. On the tape, Lane was talking into his radio. "Control, I'm not alone in here. Someone's behind me." The man turned slightly, and the feed cut out in a burst of static. Derek tried to eject the old VHS tape from the console. When he looked at the label, his blood ran cold. It read, Incident, 10/17/16, Replacement, D. Harris. That was his name. He hadn't even been working here back then. How could his name be on a tape from 9 years ago? He dropped the cassette. It hit the floor with a crack, and all the monitors in the room turned on at once. One by one, every screen flickered to life, showing live footage from around. The building, hallways, aisles, restrooms, all empty, except for one. Camera 14. It showed a figure walking down the hall, wearing a uniform just like Derek's. He stared at the screen. The figure stopped at the entrance of room B. It lifted its radio, slowly. Unit 2, it said. Camera 14. Movement detected. Derek's radio crackled. The same phrase echoed back in his own voice. He turned toward the doorway. The corridor outside was pitch black, but he could hear soft footsteps, slow, deliberate. He backed away, flashlight trembling in his grip. The footsteps stopped. Then, right next to his ear, a whisper. "You shouldn't have come back, Derek." The flashlight flickered. And in that brief moment, he saw a shape behind the desk. Something pale, still wearing a faded security uniform, and its badge said, L. Lane. The door slammed shut. Derek pounded on it, yelling into the radio, but the signal was nothing but static. Then the monitors began showing him, in real time, banging on the door from inside the room. Every screen, every angle, showing him trapped. He turned toward the monitors again and froze. Because behind him, in the reflection of the largest screen, someone else was standing. He spun around, and there was only the empty, spinning chair. The lights cut out completely. For 30 seconds, only the hum of the monitors remained. Then, faintly, the voice returned through the radio. Unit 2. Camera 14. Movement detected. But this time, it wasn't static. It was laughter. When the morning shift arrived, Derek's post was empty. His flashlight was found on the floor outside Security Room B. His radio lay beside it, still, on Channel 9. The door to Room B was sealed again with fresh tape. When Mason reviewed the night's footage, everything looked normal, except one brief flicker at 2:16 a.m. Camera 14 appeared for exactly 3 seconds, showing Security Room B inside. A man sat alone in the chair, staring at the monitors. His badge read, D. Harris. The feed blinked. Out. And Camera 14 hasn't appeared since. Some cameras don't just record what's happening. Sometimes they remember what never stopped, and sometimes the person watching the screen isn't the only one being watched. This was the Lock Security Office, part of the First Shift series. You're listening to Dreadful Screams. Turn off the lights, lock your doors, and remember, some things were never meant to be seen.